Good afternoon. This video and the following documents that I have attached to this video is being directed to all my state and local officials. The reason why that I'm actually making this video is because this is a combination of many videos that I have made over the last 3 years exposing corruption in Angelina County. These crimes have been committed inside Angelina County, and let me just first say I'm not the best orator in the world. I give you this video with hope that you will look at it and you can see the sincerity of what my points are for you possibly to do your job, your constitutional duty, and to look into these matters. These matters involve serious crimes and misdemeanors created and actually committed by Angelina County elected officials and appointed officials. This list is a major list of what has been happening and what is our current status in Angelina County. There are many more that can be actually identified if any of you in your office will take the time and actually reach out to your constituents to see the level of obstruction of justice, of false arrest, corruption in our sheriff's department, in our commissioner's office, and the concurrent city councils, and also the constables and police that actually operate our area. I will start with the most serious, and I will end up with the less serious. You can make the determination on that. I will actually attach videos that have been live recordings of these incidences, and I will also provide you links to where you can resource this material that I'm actually stating and see where we're possibly headed and where we have been constitutionally abused for our elected officials not to listen to our grievances. This is a set of grievances produced. It's underneath my First Amendment rights to produce and send to my elected officials. I hope that those that are actually reviewing this will stay tuned so you can hear all the facts. Because once you hear the facts and you put them all together, one question will remain. What the hell is going on in Angelina County? First and foremost, I want to address an issue which is actually bothering me, and it should bother everybody who lives in the state of Texas. Number one is that we have had an incident 2 years ago at the Huntington Independent School District. Sexual assault, an individual being choked, and, quote, there's a long history of this kind of behavior from the students at Huntington Independent School District. This case is currently under investigation by the District Attorney Joe E. Martin. Yesterday, we do not know if there's pressure or not, but Joe E. Martin resigned. He will no longer have the ability to investigate this measure. We question as a citizenry, what is the timing of his resignation? Is it due to this case? I reached out and I reported this to our Texas attorney, to our local DPS office. Wanted to know the status and any action that has been taken on this sexual assault and sexual harassment. For those of you who do not understand this, a student, a freshman student, was sodomized on Huntington Independent School District campus. It has been verified by doctors and counselors that this particularly happened to this individual. This individual had to undergo 4 procedures that his parents have had to come out of their pocket to pay for while we're waiting on this case to be tried. We are also having problems with reporting this information to our higher authorities. That's you, the ones that should be listening. They should be addressing these issues. We have currently no statement, any corrections, any type of behavioral modifications at this school district. Our city council will not address it. Our county commissioners will not address it. In fact, If you are a parent today, tonight, hopefully that you have your kids too, maybe you should think about this question. Would you feel comfortable of sending your kid to this school, not knowing if it was 100% safe for your child to attend classes there? And when they attend classes there, what abuse are they subject to? And why has it been addressed? This went out to Ken Paxton. The original Freedom of Information request went out to the Department of DPS, Department of Public Safety, routed through the Texas Rangers. It simply stated, I wanted to know status of the case. Here is the response per Ken Paxton. The DPS forwarded the information and asked them if they had to comply with this Freedom of Information request. Mr. Ken Paxton's name is on this. I would like to read to you this, and I will send a copy with the documentation. After reviewing your arguments and submitted information, we have determined your request does not present a novel or complex issue. Thus, we are addressing your claims, a memorandum opinion. You claim the submitted information that you will withheld from the requester. Upon review of your arguments submitted, we conclude you must withhold the submitted information pursuant to Section 552.101 of the Government Code in conjunction with 261.201 of the Family Code. Jesse Harvey was the one that I spoke to on the phone. Mr. Harvey, when I questioned him, I asked him, I said, what do you consider a novel or complex issue? His immediate response was he did not consider sexual harassment or sexual assault a complex or novel issue. This information was then earlier released, the information that he denied me. It's an actual article, and I want to give proper due. It's from the lady who wrote us, Mr. Grace Juarez. I'll have her email address if you want to contact her. But she is a reporter for the Lufkin Daily News. So in other words, they would release this information to the newspapers, but they wouldn't release it to the general public. I quote, HISD has had a long-standing culture of tolerating and even encouraging bullying and hazing behavior, the suit states. This was true in general, but even more so the students and or athletes who attempted to report bullying or hazing were told to ignore it and get over it. This article by Ms. Suarez, Lufkin Daily News. Probably the reason why we haven't actually had the opportunity for everybody to see this. The fact is that Lufkin Daily News will not share the information with the general public. You actually have to buy a subscription. You would think that maybe in this letter and this indictment, you would think it would be a novel or complex issue, and maybe that the Lufkin Daily News would consider it. Maybe this is in the best public interest that we release this, and we don't charge for information when it affects our safety of our children. Once again, in our legal status that we have on this case, no one is authorized to speak of this at the county. There's been an initial gag order on all information going in and coming out about this case, which leads to the public, people who go to school here, their parents, individuals who are deciding to move here. This is still an unresolved issue. Today, because of this issue, we have parents who will not send their individual kids to school. They will not continue their education. They are opting for homeschooling because we cannot guarantee safety of a student at a school district. This report was actually filed with the Texas Education Agency. When initially reported, they said, well, we cannot comment, we will not investigate because this is a criminal issue. They failed, even after written requests, to answer the complaint. The individuals who actually spoke to me on the phone said they cannot comment on it. And for me to receive this information, it would cost me $38,000 to receive information of history of the history of Huntington Independent School District and these type of procedures and complaints that have been filed with the school. They were willing to charge, I was having to pay $34,000, $800, $34,800 just to pursue the issue. So we, the people, could be finding out and getting some answers. Per law, the school is required to report each complaint involving sexual assault, sexual harassment, or bullying to the proper sheriff's department or proper legal authorities, which in this case would be the sheriff's department. A sheriff's department either did or did not receive these complaints. We still don't know. Did the school file the complaints? Did the sheriff ignore them? I think that might be an issue that needs to come up at trial. And once again, we still lay our head down at night and we wonder, out of all of these instances, out of all these cases that are now coming forward, when did the teachers know it? Why didn't they say something? Why didn't they report it? To this date, we do not have any state agency that is willing to go and expose all of the teachers that are actually at this school district to determine what they knew, when they knew it, and why they didn't do anything about it. This is a culture of this type of behavior that we're actually still currently witnessing in our school district. The sheriff's involvement is unknown. The investigation was conducted by the Texas Rangers. You cannot get a copy of this investigation. They will not release it per District Attorney's Office, Mr. Jesse Harvey. When asked, Mr. Harvey, do you not think that sexual assault and sexual harassment is the release of this information is in the best of public, would be the best for public information? People should know. His answer was no. I shudder to think that Mr. Jesse Harvey is working for Ken Paxton. What else does he not consider novel or complex? Once again, our sheriff's department, we cannot determine their involvement. However, what we can do is that they were totally excluded from the investigation. They did not conduct one interview. They were not asked by the Texas Rangers. The question now will be, how did this information get reported to the Texas Rangers? One man, one constable, one parent went to the constable and told him, this happened to my son, and I don't know where to report it or they'll pay attention. I cannot get anybody to even take down the complaint. Chad Wilson agreed with the student's parent, and he reported it directly to the Texas Rangers. This is how the Texas Rangers got involved and subsequently had produced their investigation. Investigation was complete by the Texas Rangers would actually imply that there should have been indictments done, and then there should have been a cleaning of the house of the school. There should have been these witnesses disposed. We should have actually gotten down to the answer. This is the recommendation by our Texas Rangers Department. This was going to follow. District Attorney Joe E. Mark decided to settle the case, produce a gag order, and drag this case out because it implicated others in a hierarchy of city government, county government, and also over school district. These facts, they cannot be ignored, they cannot be denied. Before they go down to the next issue, we have recently had on March 3rd an election. The main race that we were concentrating on was our sheriff's election. Individuals, citizens, were actually threatened. They were actually kept away from the polls. They were actually attacked personally. For example, a lady who was going against was supporting another candidate The sheriff directly actually reported her to the IRS under 501(c) violation. She runs a charity. This lady, it's called the Bags of Love. Put in little baggies things for the homeless. Put in little baggies for the care packages of people who cannot afford these things themselves. But yet, because she was standing up for his opponent, he felt it necessary at this time that he needed to file a complaint to put pressure on her and her family. Case in point, the sheriff has been known, there'll be proof at the bottom of this, to actually call employers, threatening them lack of support or some kind of legal action against the employers if their employees did not toe the line. If they did not vote in his favor, or if they decided he couldn't vote in his favor, he advised them to stay at home. These are multiple that no one has even taken a look into. Now I ask you, if you were a individual citizen with all these threats remaining around in the air, and you did vote for the other candidate, would you feel safe in your environment? Or would you feel that there's a possibility of repercussion that's going to come down with a trumped up charge just because you chose another candidate? I will say for my elected officials, I will tell you how bad the situation is in Angelina County. I told this to an individual named Mr. Terry Holcomb. We were discussing this issue. I told him, per the numbers, the amount of registered voters and the amount of individuals who actually voted is actually only 12% of our citizens vote. It's a close race. The incumbent came in with 52%. The other man came in with 44%. I question how many votes would have actually been casted if they would not have been applied political pressure or legal threats just for them showing up at the polls. This election is, when I spoke to Mr. Terry Holcomb, I actually explained this to him months ago. He said, well, vote them out. I don't probably think that my state representatives understand the gravity of the situation we have in Texas. You, citizens, are required to sit down, shut up, not voice your opinion, or you will be faced with legal action just for your right to make a decision based on the First Amendment. We also have actually a video or the audio of a phone call received by the mayor of Zavala in Angelina County from the sheriff. This recording will prove to you the actual type of intimidation was actually applied, not only to the citizens, but other elected officials. He starts identifying, I am the sheriff. And I think you know the reason why I'm calling. This mayor had actually sworn he had actually endorsed the other candidate, called him two-faced. Then he left with a eerie, but that's all right. That's all right. He approached a pastor at a church and told him that he could not endorse because there's a difference between church and state, and he could not endorse another candidate. I'm sorry, but there is, no church and state violation here. This man can support whoever he wants to. There was no complaint for the parishioners, but yet he was threatened, and also was his congregation. Key point in the fact is that a lot of people died during election season. This is the individual that we allowed to take office. I think the threat is there. I think that the bullying factor is there. And I believe if there's further investigation into Angelina County Sheriff's Department, but actually disclose this even further. This is a department, when asked to provide the standard operating procedures of their department, their rulings on use of force, their writings on regulations of force, and when to use and when not to use deadly force were all denied to citizens. You can't get these documents. We don't know what laws we're going by. One would say the Constitution, yes, but there's other ordinances that are actually put in place that the Sheriff's Department actually abides by. The citizen doesn't even know, and we're forced to take their opinion for it, and will subsequently be arrested on a false charge. This goes without saying. You can beat the rap, but you can't beat the system. In other words, they pull people in on bogus charges, create a plea bargain, or threaten them with years in jail because individuals here are too poor to get representation of a lawyer. I can hear you say, well, if you're indigent, you can't afford a lawyer. Well, you go get one, not in Angelina County. No, sir. You cannot receive legal representation because the fact is that no matter if you make $1 a year, that's enough money for you to be able to afford a lawyer. This is an injustice that goes way and beyond above our judicial system and what we're actually founded upon. We have many individuals today who believe that we do not matter and that we are being forced to remain silent. We are being forced to because this is the way the system works. Until recently, the state attorney had to issue an order directly coming from the governor, directed at Angelina County, that they would actually have a public forum in their county commissioners meeting. They had to quit doing so. It took us 3 years with all these meetings with nobody being able to represent it or nobody will speak up on issues. At a school board meeting, when it became time for actually public forum, they actually mandated, well, normally you get 5 minutes, but because you're speaking on the same subject matter of another individual, you only get Thor. Come on, man. We have a policing problem here in Angelina County. Skip subject there, sorry, but we have a policing for profit. And just write tickets. You can look up Huntington, Texas on roadsnacks.org or other organizations that actually track this type of behavior, and you will see we're one of the top cities who actually perform these illegal activities. Our constables will go out of the way. There is right there a city limit sign right here. There's the city, there's the county. These constables will constantly pursue individuals outside their jurisdiction into the county. I hope that I'm not preaching to the choir, but because the fact is that our Constitution states the only time that you can actually pursue an individual outside of your jurisdiction is when you've committed a felony. But this happens every day. Pull your socks up and grab your pantyhose. From 2014 to 2017, tickets were issued in the city of Huntington, Texas. These tickets were all invalidated because of one reason. They were illegal tickets, all for one reason. When asked the sheriff, how do you calibrate your radar guns? In unison, him and his lieutenant actually stated, well, the car automatically does that. There is no record between 2014 to 2017 of any calibration of these devices. No calibration at all, per the law. This is reported by the Lufkin Daily News. Lufkin, Texas, which Lufkin, Texas, they don't really play by the rest of the rules. They do it the right way. But when you flip the sheet over and you go down to the next column section, you can actually find Chief Epperly's name. Oh yeah, well, we got behind on that. So, but we will comply. We will comply, but we got behind on that or whatever. From 2014 to 2017. All these tickets are written up here were illegal if they use the calibration device. When asked, what is the training? What is their training requirements? What are they supposed to hear to be able to work one of these devices? Well, 40-hour class time, and then you got a 24-hour. We have 24-hour on-the-job training. We have zero constables who've actually obtained more than 14 hours in this training, but they're allowed to go up and write tickets. Subject change. Currently, right now, Huntington Independent School District, we face a $19.1 million bond initiative. The bond initiative states that all this is required because we want to upgrade our field house. We want to upgrade our weight room. We want to create a concourse where all our athletes can come together and have a lounge. There's no mention of books, no mention of computer items. There is no mention of anything that would scholastically improve the performance of the school. It's all going to the athletic department. The same in athletic department who has a case filed against it for sexual assault, sexual abuse, and bullying and hazing. We're rewarding them for this behavior. This rate increase will take 25 years for us to pay off, and it'll be $143 per person. And the fact of the matter is, it's all going to an enterprise. This is the type of student athletes we produce. Sirens. We also have a bond initiative from our city that's coming up. They received $5 million in a grant to improve our water system and our sewer system. Currently, right now, we pay more for water and sewer than we do electricity. Despite the fact that 7 contaminants, there's 8 contaminants in our water, 7 contaminants are all linked to cancer. In order to solve this problem 2 years ago, they said we need a 19% pay increase across the board to fix our sewer system in case one of our well pumps break. This was not allotted to a special fund. This was not allotted just for that particular project. This all went into the general fund and has been dispersed all around where we can't track the money. We have this initiative who actually has put forth $5 more million to actually correct this problem again, but readily admitted they can't even tell you where all the pipes are. We have leaks all around here and they don't even know where, they don't even have drawings of where the pipes are, but we continue to pay for it. Our roads are untravelable. They are a health hazard. We have kids, they don't ride to school anymore. They hold on and ride out the bumps. Many people think that's a petty issue that happens all around the county. However, the fact is it's been going on for too long. We have a lot of problems in Angelina County. These are just the tip of the iceberg. The reason why I'm sending this to you is because we reported it all. We reported this to each individual agency independently. I'm not the only one. We have yet had any response, not any from our county commissioners. We have had to have any response from the county attorney. And now our district attorney has resigned under questionable circumstances. When the new DA comes in, guess what? They're going to start the investigation all over again. We will be 10 years into finding out how deep this problem is at Huntington Independent School District and how far it goes back. We, as Texans, just celebrated 13 days of the Alamo. This is why I'm making this video. I had the option of going down to the Cinemagraph and going to the Alamo. I took every tour. Me and my wife took every tour. I researched it before we went. We did all our due diligence. I don't get off on a tangent, but it proved to me that one day that we were there, dawned on me. These individuals knew they were going to die, and they stood up and did it anyway. This is one Texan who is doing this. I'm standing up for others because others cannot afford to take the chance of being harassed, being bullied, being brought before false charges, and being set and taught a lesson that you don't speak up. You do as you say. You do as we say, you do as you're told, and you sit down and shut up, and maybe we'll come see you next election season. But we'll determine who we let vote and who we want. If this is not election fraud, I don't know what is. Here in Texas, we subscribe to the fact also is that, if you see a crime, you report a crime. You don't wait to file a complaint 4 years later, 2 years later, 2 days later, 1 day later. No, when you see a law being broken, you report it right there. You identify it immediately. Out here in Angelina County. If you do so, you'll be arrested because your voice may actually carry. Somebody else may think. I'm not asking for you to go out of your way in any way, shape, form, or fashion based on the past displays of our reactions and at places that we've rewritten. Mr. Trent Ashby, the Texas Department of Public Safety, Texas Rangers, the FBI, every entity that we've actually come up with, our local newspapers, everyone who actually reports this has been snubbed. It's a non-story. I wish that you would live here in Angelina County and experience it. Because here it is a big deal. I do not want you to go out of the way. I do not want you to put any more effort than you would to any case. All I ask you to do is one thing. Do your job. You are advised of this information. You have full access to this information. It is worth looking into. Once you get into the nuts and bolts, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And it affects more counties than just Angelina. As an elected official, appointed official, in your position, you're simply bound by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Republic of Texas. We ask you to do your job. Because when it is not a complex issue of sexual assault or sexual harassment to our own Attorney General's office, to our own Lieutenant Governor, we got bigger problems than what we think right now. We have reported this election fraud to every person that will listen. I actually had Department of Justice call me. They took my statement. I sent them the videos. If you would like more information or more research, I have 2 folders full of not only these procedures, but very many more. We are not some individuals who can be ignored for this long. We are a community that is failing because of these type of behaviors. We are caught between the good old boy network and the individuals who want to create a better county. The good old boy network is winning because they have the assets. They have general funds, which we can't track. There is $173,000 that goes for our Community Development Commission. They never even file a budget. Where does that money go? We have actually been maybe 6 years ago, we found out that our mayor was taking $300 a month. Or what? I don't know. She resigned in disgrace. This is not the first opportunity people hear about in Huntington, Texas, or Angelina County. This continually goes on year after year after year after year. And we as voters can only do our constitutional duty and report it to the higher chains of command. This is our duty. I would wish that you would hope to choose to allow us to do our duty, and please just do one thing: investigate like you're supposed to. Ask the questions of citizens. If you would like to know a name of people who have been victims of these crimes and other crimes involving sexual assault, sexual harassment in this county, involving child abuse, involving a sheriff who is unable to maintain the meth that runs through here, and also the child trafficking and other issues that mainstream America faces today. We cannot battle these issues alone. We need our elected officials. We need our appointed officials outside of Angelina County to come here and look at the evidence. I believe if you have any integrity in your office, this is a battle you'll want to fight. This is a battle you will want to take up, because this will actually be one of those moments in your life when you said, you know what, I did something good. I created, or I alleviated that these practices could not harm other people in the future. Economically, financially, physically, mentally, all these things are being portrayed or actually being utilized on the citizens of Angelina County and Huntington, Texas. I dare you to look into it, but be careful. Be careful, because what you're going to find out, you're going to have to sit down. These are just some of the issues. Anybody who would actually like to have this information, that's evidence that I have, it's all public information, but you can't get it from Angelina County, and you cannot get it from the city. What you can do is you do your research and you actually find it. You guys are pros at that. Put somebody on this, start investigating. It gets worse before it gets better. My name is Beowulf. I come to you respectfully from Huntington, Texas, in Angelina County. I come to you because the citizens of Texas, Angelina County, and Huntington, Texas, are asking you to do your job for the welfare of Texas citizens everywhere. This type of behavior needs to be acted upon for. All we ask you to do is do your job. Thank you very much. I can be reached at 936-229-2892. I'm always here. Or you can reach out to me on this video. Or you can reach me at lonervet@protonmail.com. Once again, lonervet@protonmail.com. We ask just for somebody to look into it. Thank you for your time.